being recorded, so we'll start our way through our sustainability science MScs. If anybody's any questions as we're presenting the relevant courses, please feel free to use the chat function to put your questions in there. We will do our best to work our way through those questions as we're going along. But as well as that, there will be plenty of opportunity to ask questions after each of the courses has presented. So, and I think that should work for us. Again, I can see there are more and more attendees joining us. So we'll go through the courses. We'll allow each of the course directors to present their course. If you have questions, for those of you who are attending, feel free to pop them into the chat function. And we'll again take questions at the end as well. So there will be plenty of opportunity for discussion. I'm going to go and hand over to Katrina first to present courses. And again, as I said, if you just want to take about 5 minutes for each course, that would be great. Thank you.
Thanks, Kate. I was just going to clarify there that you did mean 5 minutes per course. Great.
I did indeed. Yeah, absolutely. So there you go.
Great. So welcome, everybody. I'm going to talk to you about two of our environmental courses today. As you would have seen with the holding slide that Geisha had up, we're talking about sustainability really being one of our core values. And you can see this reflected through all the courses that we're going to talk to you about today. So the first course that I'd like to talk to you a little bit about is the MSc in Sustainable Environments. And this draws modules from across the College of Science and Engineering and also the School of Business, because we want to have a blend of modules that feed into each other, looking at sustaining the environment from an economic, a scientific and a humanities and engineering perspective. And very much this course looks at integrating aspects of the built and natural environment and looking at solving problems in an interdisciplinary fashion. Geisha, I might get you just to go on to the next slide, please. So I suppose one of the fundamental questions that the course asks is, what ways can we look at new ways of solving the current environmental crises that we're living in, for example, climate change, living with COVID, and the impact that that's had on all of us. And rather than it being a fully academic course, we also have a lot of engagement with practitioners, and they bring their own practical experience as well as the theoretical aspect. So semester one is very practical, and you do quite a lot of field work, and that kind of gives you the environmental units to sort of build on. And then we go on to look at how that interacts with people in terms of the spaces that we live in, that we work in, how it impacts on our health and well-being. And there's also optional modules to do with scientific communication and water quality. A core module there that's really important these days is environmental resilience. So after you have the first 2 semesters of taught modules, in the summer of the second semester, you will carry out your research project. So that can be on any of these topics or on topics drawing from more than one module as well. And in the past, because we've had a wide range of project questions, students have looked at anything from how you communicate climate science through the use of comedy, to looking at the cultural ecosystem services of very rare birds, to antimicrobial resistance, to wind farms, to green buildings. So you can see there that the range of topics is very, very broad. And students then go on to work in a wide range of careers. Most of last year's class are working as environmental or ecological consultants, but there are a few that are doing some slightly different things. Some of them have gone into more sort of focused nature conservation work, like Birdwatch Ireland, and some of them have also gone into work on kind of greening up transport, for example. So that's a very quick run through sustainable environments. And I'm going to ask Geisha to go on then and talk about a very similar course sustainable resource management policy and practice. But what's different about this course is that while you share the environmental modules of semester 1, so you have that same practical fieldwork based first semester, the second semester is spent at the University of Limerick, and it's very different. So it's much more looking at building the people side of resource management on top of the environmental units, and also then taking a wider lens of sustainability in terms of material flows and energy flows, and looking at that at the level of household sustainability right up to community sustainability, and then looking at particular aspects to do with transport and also the life cycle analysis of things like our electronic goods. So you can see then that students from that course would also be doing projects during the summertime, and they have ranged on, yeah, you can go on to the next slide, sorry Geisha, thank you. So from, again, the core taught modules in semester 1 and semester 2, the students will go on to do a research project in the summertime. And here these have ranged from things like rewilding to ecotourism to green labelling and city gardens, college gardens, and also a whole range of energy-based projects. Some of the students there have also gone on to work for companies like Dell, some of the semi-state companies. Some of them have gone on to further research. Some of them are working in climate area, whether that's for governmental organisations, local authorities, or NGOs. Some of them have also gone on to work for the National Biodiversity Data Centre in Ireland, for example. So there's a whole wide range of careers that the students have been able to go on to from the course that we run with the University of Limerick. And I think that's probably all that I want to say now, because I'm just conscious of time and want to give everybody a chance to talk about their courses, but I'm happy to take questions, and if you want to pop them into the chat, that'd be great. Thanks, Geisha.
Thank you very much for that, Katrina. That's brilliant. Again, I'll encourage everybody, if they have questions, pop them into the chat function. We're keeping an eye on that. Katrina, you might want to put the link to the Sustainable Resource Management course in there as well. That way, anybody who has an interest can look for further information on the relevant websites as well. Galina, would you be happy to take over and present your course? That works for you?
Absolutely fine.
Brilliant, excellent. So I'll leave you to take that away. Just share your screen and again, as I said, present the course, if that's okay for you.
Just 1 second. I just will say that it will properly presented, and I will share for yourself my So I'm going to desktop and sharing my desktop. Can you see it, please?
Yes, we can. If you just want to make that bigger, we can see that perfectly
absolutely.
Then. Yeah, that's perfect. Great, lovely. Thank you very much, Galina. You can take it away there.
Okay, excellent. So I'm going to present here the 2 master degree program. One master degree is taught. This is MSc Agri-Food Sustainability and Technology, and the second master degree, this is a structured research master degree, and MSc Agri-Biosciences. Both programs are 1-year master degree program. So as Katrina and Geisha already mentioned, sustainability is the main topic of what we pursue in our classes. And actually, you can see this is the quotation from the Chagas from CAHA Berkeley. So sustainability is the core of agricultural policy, both in Ireland and across. I think something is different shared right now. Yes, just 1 second.
You're sharing the master's program, no?
Yeah. Can you see my screen? Yes.
We can now see your screen. Before that, we saw the presentation that you had.
So but you can see the presentation.
I can now see the quotation, yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. So it will sound
likewise.
Yeah, okay, excellent. So sustainability is essential, especially based on the recent policy what we have. And in Ireland, we have sufficient number of agri-food companies, which need people who are aware and who have a good and sufficient and high quality knowledge to drive the transition of processes in the agri-food sector towards sustainability. So what I will talk during this presentation, I will present you both program, and for both program, I'm coordinator, and Professor Charles Spillane is the director of both program. He's also director of the Ryan Institute. So this is what I will talk. I will talk a small overview about the course modules, a possibility for scholarship, and some description of our previous alumni where students are. And of course, feel free to use the chat function to talk about programs. So both our programs are run through the board of lecturers. So we have the lecturers both from National University of Ireland, Galway, but also representative of University of Limerick and certainly of Teagasc. So both programs are actually run in coordination with Teagasc, and these programs were established as a response to request of Teagasc to have researchers and to have people who have a deep and good understanding of sustainability, especially in Ireland. So MSc Agri-Food Sustainability and Technology, as I said, is 1 year taught master program. So run in conjunction with Teagasc. It has a regular structure as 60 taught ECTs and 30 research ECTs, where students are going for research placement either in our university or in Teagasc or in any of the companies with which we have a deep and successful collaboration. Even now, in the time of COVID-19, all our students are on placement, and they are on placement either on Teagasc or on our university field. And we have number of possibilities to have students on placement with the companies despite of COVID-19. So it did not affect our courses. So we have 12 taught modules which are delivered during the first and second semester. So the modules are delivered both on campus and online. In the light of COVID-19, we were delivering all our modules online, so we are flexible in delivering the modules. In terms of the practical sessions are delivered on campus. So usually the students are doing the research placement at the partner organization or lab, and the assignment for this program is a combination of the exams and continuous assignment. So this is a timetable of the program, where you can see that you have the range of different modules, starting from the overview of Irish agriculture, agri-food sector, the introduction to agribusiness and market, the modules about the agri-food sustainability and environment. We are putting a special effort for students to develop not only research skills, but also the soft skills. And we have designed a module, very successful one, which is dedicated for the development of your communication in pathway skills and your agri-food career skills. We have a module on One Health, which is covering wide topics on One Health, starting from antimicrobial resistance and One Planet topics. So then students have a module which is running across several disciplines and which is on high demand. This is Green Lab Principles and Practice. And additionally, in the second semester, students have an extensive training on the geospatial analysis, remote sensing, on data analysis, modules, which is unique on the agri-engineering and agri-technologies and food system, diet, nutrition. And of course, students are trained how to write articles, how to write review articles, how to write research articles, and they're doing the project. So this is just a small list of our partners with whom we are working successfully for both of our programs, and our students are selecting with whom they would like to do the research project based on their preference, based on their career perspective. So to entry requirements, this is a 2.2 grade or higher or equivalent. And this is how you have to log in order to make the application. And we are considering students on student basis. We're taking accounts of previous work experience, etc. So you have the information about the scholarship scheme, which is available for the students, and you have a possibility of international scholarship if you're an international student. If you're talking about the MSc Agri-Bioscience Research, so this is structured research master program. So this master program was selected in 2020 for the best science, new postgraduate course. So now it's already not new, at the time it was. So this program is again 1 year master program. So it's not traditional research master, it's structured research master program. So it's a combination between the taught and master program. So it has 30 CTEs of the taught modules and 60 CTEs of research. So it's really intensive training of the students to be suitable for further career. So what students are doing during this program, so they have a possibility to take the core modules of the program, again similar like in previous one. So they have a possibility to take one health module or to select just spatial analysis or data analysis. But importantly, students will do the at least 6 months research project in the partner organizations. So, and it can be either chagas or it can be companies. The benefit of this program that the training is 100% applicable to the future job, and you have a possibility to get unique qualification which is recognized and which our students actually on a good score with many companies in Ireland, and they are required. So you have the, again, this is the way how you are going to log in to apply for this for these courses. These are our partner organizations, and our students are doing research project in a vast majority of different disciplines and directions. So you can see we have project in synthetic and molecular biology, we have project in plant molecular biology, we have project on One Health, we have project on the agri-economics, sociology, and GIS remote sensing. We have project on human and animal nutrition, nutrients, and sustainability. So we are, because our program is a multidiscipline and we have a lot of researchers from different areas, your possibility to do your project in the area you like. So I think that's all, and I'm returning back to Gesha. Gesha, I'm stopping the presentation.
Perfect, thank you, Galina. Peter, would you be happy to take over for the presentation?
Yes, I would indeed. I would
Brilliant.
indeed. Just a
Thank
second.
you very much. While you're setting up, I'm going to go and welcome those people who've just joined. We're just running through the Science of Sustainability courses that we offer here at NUI Galway. Those that have already been presented, there are links in the chat function if you want to look at the relevant pages. And as well as that, we would encourage you to use the chat function to ask any questions. We're very happy to take any questions via the chat function, but there will also be an opportunity to ask questions at the end. But I'll hand over to Peter for now, who will present his MSc.
Okay, do you see that?
We see that, yeah, it's not a slideshow function. It's just, yeah, no, there we go. Perfect.
There we go. Okay, so thanks very much, Geshe, and thanks everyone for coming. I see there's a few current fourth years in the room at the moment, and I see a few people I've sort of, spoken with by email as well. And welcome to all of you, and welcome to everyone. Just going to talk for a couple of minutes about the Master's Programme in Climate Change, Agriculture and Food Security, MSc CCAFS, which I coordinate. We've been running this programme for a few years now and really recruiting quite multinational groupings of students with different backgrounds to train them in careers which can make a difference to these sort of major sustainability challenges in terms of sort of sustainably feeding the world, really. So it's a one-year full-time course. Some of you may have seen this brochure, which is available for download, which sort of summarizes a lot of the key features, as well as giving my own contact details. So my email is down there if anybody does want to just drop me a line about anything or stick questions into the chat. The aim is to take together people, as I say, from different backgrounds. We act as a conversion course for other disciplines, although we're based within natural sciences and the College of Science and Engineering. We have had many students who've joined us with backgrounds in international development, economics, agricultural engineering, and sometimes other things as well. So we're quite multidisciplinary and aim to build up not just your knowledge of areas, but also your skills and your connections. And we'll consider any candidate with a 2 or above, or with equivalent training. People sometimes ask about writing personal statements for the application, and really the sort of key thing is to sort of have a passion for the subject and see where it fits in your own career rather than any particular background. Importantly, the programme is run in collaboration with an international research programme called on climate change, agriculture and food security, run by a network of international research centres. We are thematically aligned with this programme, and our students very often do their research projects over a 3-month internship in collaboration with international partner organisations. And in some cases, people then go on to work or do internships with the organisations as well. As of last year, these were sort of virtual home-based collaborations, so we were still able to provide international collaboration. Obviously, we hope as soon as international travel is possible again, that people will again be able to head out and actually be located in the field. They can be in Ireland, but they can also be in many other countries. We've had students in South America, Sub-Saharan Africa. We've strong links with Vietnam as well. Quite a few students have done projects out there and in many other places of the world. Okay, the course is taught by various different people, including myself and Galina, Charlie again, and other experts with expertise in gender, life cycle assessment, and atmospheric physics also. We've also had various awards and nominations for awards, and have successfully grown the course to 20 or 30 students, usually about half and half between European students and those from other parts of the world, including from the US. And I have to also emphasize the support of Irish Aid, who provide fellowships for students from various African countries, from small island developing states, and from the Far East, all of whom, of course, are in the front line of climate change impacts on agriculture and on food systems in general. We're also aligned with the Rhine Institute and with the Plant and Agri-Biosciences Research Centre, and our courses include many guest lecturers from within Galway and from around the world. We're also linked into many other organisations. Students attend the conference, the Irish Forum for International Agricultural Development. We have input from the NGO sector, from Teagasc, and from other bodies as well. So it's quite broad-based. If you want to see what we're up to, please give us a follow on Twitter. I'll jump over that. That's just a bit more detail on the structure of the modules. We've had good student feedback, which emphasises the diversity of the lecturers and the viewpoints. There are so many promoted solutions around. We aim to, give everybody different insights into different approaches and to be able to make their minds up. And our ultimate hope is that our graduates go on to make impacts in terms of climate impacts on agricultural security, to create more sustainable agri-food systems, and many have become researchers, have gone on to PhDs, or work in private sector or in research organisations, sort of in areas which are very relevant. This is a slightly old slide. We're building up quite a big alumnus network, which I'd be happy to talk about with anyone who's interested. Just a note, I guess this goes for all of our courses. For the latest updates on how we're adapting to the ongoing situation, please do follow the COVID-19 page on the website. And there I will finish. And thank you very much. Very happy to take questions.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that, Peter. That was great. And yeah, I think it's very relevant to note that there are constant updates on the university websites that's going to be relevant for people to look at. And there's also, I might ask one of my fellow presenters to maybe pop a link to the international office into the chat function if you could. That'd be great. Other than that, if anybody has any questions or queries, do feel free to use the chat function. Liam, would you be happy to present your course?
Yes, Geisha, thank you.
Brilliant,
thank you very
excellent.
much.
So I'll hand over to Liam for this now. And again, use the chat function, everybody. Ask us questions. We're here to answer any questions that you might have. Really, really happy to take them. And with that, I will hand over to Liam. Thanks, Liam.
Can you all see my screen there?
Yeah. We can, yeah.
Yeah, great. No, thank you very much. I'm going to be talking to you today a little bit about an MSc program in marine and freshwater resources monitoring and management. And this is a new course. This is a new course that's coming on stream in September 2021. Here at NUI Galway, we have a long history of oceanographic and marine biology research, and also in freshwater biology. And I guess this master's is kind of unique in an Irish context, and even very much so in an international context, because this is one of the first times that we combine both the marine environment and the freshwater environment into an MSc program, because they're usually offered separately. And as part of that, we see that the terrestrial, the surface water, the groundwater is very important in terms of the land to sea transfer, or the land to sea pathway. So as I say, this course is coming on stream in 2021. It's a full-time course over 12 months, or it can be taken as a part-time course over 2 years. It is your usual structure of 90 ECTS, 60 of which are taught and 30 of which are project-based, and it's predominantly assessment is predominantly continual assessment. So I suppose the the overall aims of the course are, it's become obvious how reliant and dependent we are on our marine and freshwater resources. They support a diverse economy, from food to aquaculture to fisheries, tourism, recreation, drinking water, mineral and oil and gas production. But it's become very obvious that obviously, humans have impacted greatly on our aquatic resources. And as a result of this, there's an increased level of monitoring and management, and a lot of European directives have come into place, and global directives in relation to protection of these resources. So the course will allow graduates to develop a core understanding and an advanced level of knowledge and skills in key areas that are relevant to these resources, giving them the skills really that are required to address some of the problems that we're going to face in the 21st century. And graduates will learn advanced problem solving, management, analytical and communication skills. And in terms of the modules, we have 40 ECTS core modules. One of our main modules is environmental problems in marine and freshwater environments, where we look at a whole range of contaminants, traditional and historical contaminants, but also contaminants of emerging concern. And then we will also look at the methodological aspects and the applications, how you go about addressing these, how you go about from an analytical point of view, determining various contaminants and looking at case studies. We also have a new module on marine and freshwater acidification and one on metals in the environment, Water Framework Directive and Green Labs. And then in terms of the optional modules, these include things like water quality, global change, data analysis, ecosystem science, introduced invasive species, and of course communication of science and research. And we also have a module on legislation, biodiversity legislation and policy, marine spatial planning, geospatial analysis and remote sensing, and program management. And also, not alone are we across the College of Science and Engineering, but we're also offering from the college, or from the College of Law and Business, we're looking at a program on legislation for environmental scientists. And just to point out to you that the need from this course, the structure of this course was developed from a feasibility study that was conducted in 2020, where we talked to 130 stakeholders in Ireland, people in the Environment Protection Agency, in Teagasc, in the Geological Survey, in the Marine Institute, in all the local authorities across the country, but also the private companies, analytical companies, and environmental consultancies and agencies. And we looked at what they liked to see in graduates that they would be potentially employing. And from that feasibility study, this course structure was developed. And then there is a minor project as well, which is 30 ECTS. In terms of careers and employability, well, you know, the course will produce well-rounded, motivated, mobile, dynamic problem solvers that can work in a range of public and private, right across the public and private sector, in NGOs, in state agencies, and it also will equip students that want to go on into research or PhD studies. And you know, there's a whole range of skills right across, as I said, from legislation to analytical chemistry to water chemistry, right across it. And at the moment, there isn't a website for the course because the course has just been finalized, but the course will come on stream in 2021. So I think, Geisha, that's pretty much my summary of the course.
Thank you very much for that, Liam. I know it's exciting to have a new course coming along, so hopefully there will be a website for it soon if people are looking for it. But in the meantime, Liam, you might want to pop your contact details into the chat. That people can contact you directly if they have any questions about this particular course. I think that would be very, very useful. And I'm going to go and ask you to stop sharing because I want to go and share my slides. I'm going to go and give a presentation of the two courses that I present. Okay, brilliant. So we already have questions there. I'm going to leave the questions in the chat function over to those of you who have already given your presentations. I think, Katrina, that question is related to you in particular. Now, as I said, I'm going to go and just share my slides with you because I have also got two courses. Hold on a moment. Here we are. So the first MSc for which I am the director is the MSc in Environmental Leadership. Liam, do you still have your microphone on? Would you mind muting that, please? Thank you. So there's the MSc in Environmental Leadership. What we're looking at here is a course that's looking to address environmental challenges and sustainability challenges at a very a broad level, and what we're looking at here is a course that builds on the expertise from a whole range of different schools within the university. So we come at environmental problems from a natural science perspective, from an engineering perspective, from a geography and archaeology perspective, but also business and economics perspective. So we really look at environmental and sustainability challenges from all of those perspectives. This is a 1-year full-time course, and again, it's 90 ECTS that we're looking at here. And it really is aimed at preparing people to deal with environmental challenges that are current and arising in the future, based on the fact that our current environment really is in difficult situations. So there's a whole range of modules that aim to address the different aspects of environment and sustainability. So there are core modules which include environmental problems and solutions, environmental leadership, research methods, project management, natural resource governance and sustainability, and communicating science and research. These are the main modules that every student will have to take, and then there's a range of optional modules that they can choose from. These relate to the human health. There's One Health, there's environment and human health, but there's also environmental resilience, for example. There's impact assessment. We also look at data science, but also introduction to development and looking at social marketing and sustainability, invasive species, climate change, obviously, marine spatial planning. So there's a whole broad range of different modules here. And just as there's a broad range of different modules that we include in our course, our applicants come from a whole range of different backgrounds. So they are from science backgrounds, engineering backgrounds, they come from geography and social science backgrounds, they come from legislation backgrounds, business backgrounds. And it is in recognition of the fact that sustainability and the environment need to be tackled from a whole range of different disciplines if we're looking to deal with the challenges that are being presented to us today. And the options that we provide students with is aimed at building on their current experience, but also allowing them to move into new directions if they wish to do so and further build on what they have already learned. If you want to look at any of these modules in detail in terms of what they entail, do take a look at our course website. It's down here, but I'll also pop it into the chat in a moment. Then there is also, again, as for the other courses, a research project that is part of this course, and here what we're looking for is usually something that is a relevant topic to the course. We allow students a whole range of opportunities, projects that they can take, and examples of the projects that students would have done in the last year. These include a whole range of different things. So there are courses on marine spatial planning and development, for example, marine conservation, but also feasibility of, for example, conservation of protected species. Then we're looking at things such as, for example, FSC labeling. In relation to this particular study was in China, based in China. We're looking at things such as how we monitor protected species, but also, for example, end of waste criteria, use of remote sensing technologies. There's projects on microplastics, workplace sustainability training, future of suburbia in terms of planning and development, but also looking at things such as carbon sequestration, for example. So these are just a number of examples of projects that we've had in the last year. And in terms of career prospects for graduates of this particular course, these are actually very broad and wide-reaching. These are at national and international opportunities for graduates, and these are in a whole range of sectors. We have people who've gone into public sectors, so they work with relevant government departments. They might have gone on into academia, they might have gone on into further research, or they're now working for planning and local authorities, for example. They've gone into fisheries and energy. So again, and these are all different public sector areas that people would have gone into. In the private sector, graduates have gone into relevant consultancies, be that conservation planning and engineering consultancies. They have also become things such as sustainability officers in companies, or they now work in the renewable energy sector. And a number of graduates have also gone into working for different NGOs, be that at Irish or international level. So again, one of our students now works with World Wildlife Fund for Nature, but also at a national level, for example, Birdwatch Ireland. As I said earlier, if any of you have any questions about any of these courses, please feel free to contact me or take another look at our course website. I'm always happy to answer any questions that you have. Now, the other course that I coordinate is the MSc in Biodiversity and Land Use Planning. The MSc in Biodiversity and Land Use Planning is a course that looks at managing natural resources sustainably and looking at bridging the gap between development and conserving development. So how do we manage to look at biodiversity and still allow for development progress and look at sustainable progress? And it's also focused on the implementation of relevant conservation legislation at a ground level. This course is slightly different in that it is a blended learning course, which means that it is run on a part-time basis. Students will be on campus for 2 days a month, and the rest of the course is covered in an online format. So therefore, this course takes place on as I said, a blended learning format, a part-time learning format. Most of our current cohort are actually in full-time employment, and they're doing this course part-time then in addition to working full-time, and they've managed to balance working full-time with this course. This course can be completed, as I said, fully in 2 years, but you can also choose to do a modular version where it is possible to complete the course over up to 6 years, depending on what works best for people. And there are also certificate and diploma exit options. The modules that are included in this course is in the first year, we're looking at the basics of ecosystems, introducing flora and fauna, looking at ecological survey techniques, including habitat mapping and also biodiversity legislation and policy. And year 2 then looks at the environmental assessment side of things, be that EIA, AA or SEA, but also things such as the Water Framework Directive and invasive species and biodiversity. And once these have been completed, the top modules, there's again a project aspect to it. Again, projects usually are relevant to the course itself. So students would have done projects on, for example, biodiversity in agricultural settings and how to enhance biodiversity in such settings, looking at conservation of protected species, looking at management planning for recreation and conservation areas, looking at the development of greenways, for example. So there's a whole range of different projects that people have done in the past in this course. And our graduates work again in public sector, be that in government departments such as environment, communication sector, or be that in the Department of Agriculture, Agriculture, Food and Marine. They work in local authorities, in the planning departments in local authorities, or as biodiversity officers in local authorities. They work in forestry sector, fisheries sector, and in environmental conservation agencies such as the National Parks and Wildlife Services in Ireland. They've gone on to work in or set up their own consultancies on conservation and planning, and examples of NGOs that they might work for, Birdwatch Ireland. And again, if you want any more information, please feel free to just check out the course website or drop me a line. I'm always happy to respond to emails. Now, I have one more slide here that I'm going to share, which I think is relevant to all courses because it gives an overview of funding opportunities that currently exist for anybody who's applying to a course in NUI Galway. There's on the one hand the NUIG scholarship. This is open to any student from Ireland or the EU. Here we're looking at an opportunity to gain additional funding for the courses for students from, as I said, Ireland or the EU if they have received a first-class honours in their undergraduate degree. And then there are a range of international funding opportunities such as the NUI Galway Postgraduate Merit Scholarship. There are a range of region-specific scholarships, so there is a scholarship for international students who would come from, for example, let's say Latin America, who might come from China, who would come from African countries. And then obviously there's also the Government of Ireland scholarships that are available to you. A lot of these have deadlines in March, so please keep this in mind. So you will want to make decisions sooner because for a lot of them you're expected to have received a course offer and accepted that offer before that application can be processed. There's a relevant website there as well. It's nuigalway.ie postgraduate_scholarships if you're looking for more information on any of these relevant scholarships.